Tonight's story is about a food delivery driver who believed he was making his final delivery of the night. But what he didn't know was that the order had never been placed by a living person. A deserted forest, an abandoned road, and a horrifying accident that happened 7 years ago were all connected by a mystery that remains unexplained to this day. If you've ever driven alone late at night, stay with me until the very end, because after hearing this story, you may never accept another late-night delivery again. It was 2:41 a.m. The streets of Chicago were almost empty. A freezing winter wind swept through the city. 29-year-old Ethan Carter was finishing another late-night delivery shift. During the day he attended college. At night he delivered food to pay his bills. Night shifts always paid better. That's why he kept working, even after midnight. At first this night felt completely normal, but before sunrise, everything would change. At exactly 2:41 a.m., Ethan's phone buzzed. A new delivery request. The restaurant was familiar, but the delivery address wasn't. 147 Black Pine Road. It was far outside the city, an area he had never visited before. Then he noticed something strange. The payout, $196 for a single meal. It didn't make any sense. Still, he accepted the order. A few minutes later, he picked up the food and got back into his car. Just as he started the engine, a message appeared on his screen. Please don't be late. No name, no profile picture, just those 4 words. Ethan smiled to himself. Someone must be really hungry. He pulled onto the highway. For the first 10 minutes, everything was normal. Then, his GPS directed him onto a narrow road surrounded by towering pine trees. No streetlights, no houses, no other cars. His phone signal dropped to 1 bar. A few seconds later, it disappeared completely. Then something even stranger happened. The radio suddenly turned off by itself. Ethan pressed the power button. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. At that exact moment, the outside temperature on his dashboard changed from 39 degrees Fahrenheit to 10 degrees in less than a minute. That's impossible, he whispered. Maybe the sensor was broken. At least, that's what he wanted to believe. But deep inside, something felt terribly wrong. Every instinct told him the same thing. Turn around. Go back. He ignored it. 5 minutes later, the GPS spoke. You have arrived. Ethan looked through the windshield. There was no house, no lights, no people, only an old wooden mailbox. Painted on the side were the numbers. 147. He parked the car. The silence was overwhelming. So quiet, he could hear his own heartbeat. Then, his phone vibrated again. A new message. I'm behind you. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Slowly, he looked into the rear-view mirror. Nothing. The back seat was empty. He let out a nervous laugh. Then, without warning, the rear passenger door, slowly, creaked open by itself. The rear door remained open. Ethan froze. For a few seconds, he couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The cold air rushed into the car. It felt unnatural. Slowly, he reached for the door lock button. Click. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Still nothing. The door stayed open. Then, he heard it. Footsteps. Crunch, 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 as if someone was walking across dry leaves. The sound grew closer, closer, and then it stopped, right beside the open door. Ethan looked into the side mirror. Nothing. No one was there. His hands were shaking. He grabbed his flashlight, stepped out of the car, and aimed the light toward the trees. Empty. Just endless darkness. The wind had stopped. Even the insects were silent. It was as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Ethan slowly walked to the back of the car. No footprints. No person. No movement. Trying to calm himself, he reached for the rear door. The moment he touched the handle, slam! The door shut by itself. Ethan jumped back. His heart pounded in his chest. I'm done, he whispered. I'm leaving. He climbed back into the driver's seat, started the engine. and stepped on the gas. But the car didn't move. The engine was running. The wheels were spinning. Yet, it felt like something was holding the car in place. Then, his phone lit up. A new notification. Customer has entered your vehicle. Ethan stared at the screen. His blood ran cold. Slowly, very slowly, he looked into the rear-view mirror. The back seat was no longer empty. Someone was sitting there. A woman. Long black hair covered her face. She wore an old gray coat. Her hands rested quietly on her lap. She wasn't moving. She wasn't breathing. She was just sitting there. Ethan swallowed hard. His voice barely came out.
Mom?
No answer. I'm sorry. I didn't see you get in. Silence. Then, without lifting her head, she spoke, in a soft, almost broken whisper.
You came. Just like last time.
Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Last time. The woman slowly tilted her head, just enough, for one pale eye to become visible in the mirror. Then she whispered.
You don't remember dying here, do you?
Ethan's heart nearly stopped. For several seconds, he couldn't say a word. Finally, he managed to. What did you just say? The woman slowly raised her head. Her face was unnaturally pale. Her eyes looked empty, cold, lifeless. She spoke in a calm voice.
You've been here before, and this is where you died.
Ethan shook his head.
No. That's impossible. I'm alive.
The woman didn't respond. She simply turned her eyes toward the window. Then, without warning, the headlights went out. The engine died. The entire car fell into complete darkness. Ethan quickly grabbed his phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam swept across the back seat. It was empty. The woman was gone. His breathing became faster. He threw open the driver's door and stepped outside. As he looked around, his flashlight landed on an old, rusted road sign. He wiped away the dirt. It read, Black Pine Bridge. Below it, in faded letters, Accident Zone. A chill ran down his spine. Then, he noticed something farther down the road. An old police cruiser, abandoned. Its driver's door was hanging open. Ethan slowly walked toward it. Inside, a weathered case file rested on the front seat. The cover read, Fatal Crash Report. Date, October 18th, 2019. With trembling hands, he opened the file. The first page contained a photograph. The moment he saw it, his blood ran cold. The driver in the picture was him. The same face, the same jacket, the same car. He looked down at the report. It read, driver Ethan Carter died instantly after crashing into Black Pine Bridge at 2:41 a.m. The file slipped from his hands. It hit the ground. No. He whispered, this can't be real. Then, a familiar voice echoed from behind him. The woman, softly, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. Now, you'll finally remember. Ethan slowly turned around. She wasn't alone. Dozens of silent figures stood among the trees, perfectly still, watching him. Every single one of them had completely black eyes. Ethan couldn't move. His legs felt frozen. The silent figures stood between the trees, watching him. None of them blinked. None of them spoke. The woman slowly stepped forward. The cold around Ethan grew even heavier. She stopped just a few feet away. Then she quietly said, You.
They're waiting for you.
Ethan's voice shook. Who are they? The woman looked back at the dark forest.
The ones who never made it home.
Suddenly, one of the figures took a step forward, then another, and another. Within seconds, they were all slowly walking toward him. Not running, not making a sound, just walking. Every step felt slow, but somehow, they were getting closer far too quickly. Panic took over. Ethan ran to his car. He slammed the door shut, locked it, started the engine. This time, the engine roared to life. Without looking back, he pressed the accelerator. The tires screamed across the pavement. He sped down the empty road. In the rearview mirror, the figures were still there, standing in the middle of the road, watching him disappear. A few minutes later, his phone suddenly rang. Unknown caller. He ignored it. It rang again, and again. Finally, he answered. There was only static. Then, a little girl's voice, "You left us here." The call ended. At that exact moment, his GPS switched on by itself. A new destination appeared on the screen. Return to Black Pine Bridge. Ethan tried to cancel it. The screen wouldn't respond. Then every screen inside the car went black. For 3 long seconds, there was nothing. When the dashboard lit up again, the GPS no longer showed a map. It showed a live camera view from inside his own car. Ethan was driving. His hands were on the steering wheel, but in the back seat, someone was smiling. It wasn't the woman. It was a young boy, pale skin, dark eyes. And he slowly raised one finger, pointing toward the passenger seat. Ethan turned his head. The passenger seat was no longer empty. Ethan slowly turned his head toward the passenger seat. A man was sitting there. He looked to be in his late 40s. His clothes were soaked, his face was covered in dried blood, but the most terrifying part was that he was smiling. Not a normal smile, a cold, lifeless smile. Ethan slammed on the brakes. The car came to a violent stop. He jumped out and ran. He didn't know where he was going. He only knew one thing. He had to get away. The forest was silent, too silent. His breathing echoed through the darkness. Then, he heard another sound. Footsteps. Not one pair, dozens, maybe hundreds. They were all following him. Ethan kept running until he saw flashing red and blue lights. A police car. Relief flooded through him. He sprinted toward it. An officer stepped out. "Sir, are you okay?" Ethan could barely speak. "They're chasing me. Please, you have to help me." The officer looked confused. He shined his flashlight into the woods. There was nothing there. Then he looked back at Ethan. His expression suddenly changed. Slowly, he asked, "What's your name?" "Ethan Carter." The officer's face turned pale. With trembling hands, he reached into the patrol car, pulled out an old newspaper. The front page showed a photograph. It was Ethan. The headline read, "College Student Killed in Black Pine Bridge Crash. October 18, 2019. The officer.
I don't understand. You died 7 years ago.
Everything around Ethan became silent. Fragments of memories rushed back. The rain, the bridge, the truck headlights, the crash, the darkness. Then, he finally remembered. He had never escaped that night. He never completed the delivery. He never drove home. He died on Black Pine Bridge. 7 years ago. The mysterious delivery request had never been for food. It was a journey to lead him back to where his soul had been trapped all these years. The woman slowly appeared beside the bridge. She held out her hand. This time, Ethan didn't run. He quietly took her hand. Together, they disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, police found an abandoned delivery car near Black Pine Bridge. The engine was still running. A hot meal sat untouched on the passenger seat, but the driver was nowhere to be found. Even today, locals say that if you drive across Black Pine Bridge at exactly 2:41 a.m., your phone may receive a delivery request. No customer photo, no profile, just one address, 147 Black Pine Road, and one message: please don't be late.